Welcome to the XS Noize Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Millar, and in this episode, I'm joined by John Parr from Cast as we rewind to 1995, a golden year for Britpop, to celebrate one of the era's most cherished debut albums, All Change. If you missed our last episode, I spoke with Peter Hooton, frontman of the legendary Liverpool band The Farm, so be sure to check it out. Led by former Laz bassist John Parr, Cast burst onto the scene with a sound full of melody, optimism and unmistakable Mersey swagger. All Change wasn't just a debut, it was a mission statement. Featuring classics like All Right and Walkaway, it became the fastest selling debut in Polydor's history and remains a cornerstone of the Britpop movement. In this episode, we dive into the stories, inspiration and lasting impact behind the album, and look ahead to Cast's return to the big stage as they prepare to support Oasis on their upcoming tour. Whether All Change has been part of your life for 3 decades or you're just discovering it now, this episode is for you. So let's get into it. This is John Parr from Cast on the XS Noize Podcast. So hi John, welcome back to the XS Noize Podcast.
Hello, how are you doing?
Very good.
I'm all right. Yeah, good.
It's great to have you on again. There's so much happening in the world of Cast right now. The Oasis tour, 30th anniversary celebration of All Change, new album in the works.
Yeah.
Does it feel like things have come full circle in a way?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that something is definitely happening. I mean, the recording the album at the beginning of the year, which was just an opportunity arose where the studio was free. I had some ideas. I'd been listening to Tomorrow Calls My Name, the last song on the last album, Love Is the Call. I thought if I could come up with like something like a few anthemic songs like that. We knew we had the Oasis tour ahead of us. And so we just went in. The band hadn't even heard any of the ideas. So there was a bit of pressure, but it was a really good feeling and idea. And Youth, myself and the band, we dug deep and we found a real good bunch of I mean, Alan McGee and Youth, they both think it's the best thing we've done. So, I'm not going to argue with it actually, because it does sound, it's like majestic, anthemic and groove. So, yeah, it's a really good place to be. Like, so that's how the year started. And it hasn't stopped. I mean, there's so much going on. There's so many great things to look forward to. The Oasis tour is just, I mean, that's just like immense. And it's going to be such an experience. I mean, it'd be just for Oasis getting back together and going, I mean, that'll be exciting enough anyway. But to be opening for them on all these dates around like Britain and Ireland, it's unbelievable, We've got a song that actually is just being mixed, which is hopefully going to get on the airwaves in the middle of that tour. A lot of things are happening behind the scenes as we speak. We've got going back to America in September after the Oasis tour. We've got the All Change 30th anniversary. You couldn't make it up. As you said, Liverpool won the league. You know what I mean? My daughter's just got married. I did a theatre tour. I don't know. Sometimes these things, you just got to go with it. You can't even question. So when you say, does it feel like it's gone full circle? I don't know where it feels like it's gone, but it certainly feels like a good place to be.
What's the song called? Can you say?
Well, the working title of the album has been, for me, was Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. There's a song called, I've just got the mix back now. It's sounding immense. I must say, I've just heard it and it sounds like a absolute tune. It's a killer track. It's got a lot of good things going for it. I'm dead excited by it, really. It's going to go to radio ASAP. Sounds like the sound of this summer, This is going to go and happen quick, I mean, it's literally got mixed about 2 days ago. We're literally, there's little things going on with it right as we speak, So we're looking to be active in the summer with new material. But the album will come out next year. And we've got some real big tracks on the record.
So let's talk about supporting Oasis on their stadium reunion tour. How did that come about and what was your first reaction?
Well, to be honest with you, we'd had Lovers to Call Out last year. We'd done the Liam Gallagher tour, which came off that record. So when Oasis announced, to be honest with you, the realism in me was like, hey, John, you can't be, I was very excited when I first heard, and you have a little part of you that thinks, wow, if we can, maybe we might get a show or we might get our name put in the hat. But as time went on and you kept hearing all these rumors about other bands and things, I just kind of, I kind of left it. Nothing was confirmed and nothing was announced. So I kept telling myself, well, until they actually tell everyone who's supporting them, you never know, we might have a chance. But I'd really put it down. I wasn't I wasn't expecting it in the least. And we were going on stage in Aberdeen, and I got a call from Liam, who'd just spoken to Noel, and he just asked us and said, "Do you want to open?" And I was like, "Are you kidding, man? That's amazing." And the energy in our dressing room as that phone call came in was electric. I mean, it was really quite a strange dynamic, because it was like there was everybody kind of knew something was maybe happening, and I don't know why. There'd been a couple of little cryptic tweets that Liam had put up. But then this call came in, and literally everything just stopped, and then everything just exploded. I mean, people were just, Skill and Keith and myself were like just organized. It was such an amazing, because we weren't expecting it, It was just so amazing, yeah, That was just, it was a very special moment,
And Noel Gallagher famously said, watching Cast was like a religious experience. So what does that mean to hear that from him, especially now that you're sharing the stage again after all these years?
I think it's going to be amazing. I mean, that quote, I remember when he said that, I think that was after Urban Beach. As we came off stage, he was watching the band. I mean, I think Liam and Noel, we've meandered through from the very early days. We got signed at a gig that they get, in New Cross at the venue, after I blagged my way into a club gig in Liverpool that Oasis was doing. I played Noel my demos. He loved it. He said, "Do you want to open for us?" A week later, we got a call. We went down to London. We opened. There was an A&R, head of A&R from Polydor was there. He couldn't believe we weren't signed. I said, "No, can I?" And it went on from there. And we've always meandered and done our thing, I mean, I'm the worst sort of kind of keeping in touch. Whenever I bump into people, it's always very easy. It's always been very easy with Liam and Noel. I mean, but anyone who knows me well knows I can be quite, I'm like a social recluse. You catch me, and I'm sound. So it's just been a very wonderful musical journey. I mean, just talking about All Changes 30 years ago. So this was pre that. So here we are this summer, going to be opening. I was just telling you, we opened for them and we got signed to Polydor from that gig. Here we are going to be opening for them on what is the biggest tour in the world this year. And so it's amazing. We're looking forward to it, but we know we know how it works, that like everything passes, and it's going to be great, and we're going to enjoy it. And I'm really excited to see Liam and they'll get on stage again, because those songs mean a hell of a lot to me as much as the audience, But the whole year has been one massive event after the other. And as I said, we'll be going to the States after the Oasis tour. We'll come back, we've got the All Change tour. And then we've got an album that's going to come out, which, when you know that you've recorded something that is like majestic, it's of that, it's that record that you do and you make at the right time. It's got some real big anthems on it. Like I've just spoke to you. You just give me a quick call. This record has been like a creative, it kept giving. We kept finding the youth kept coming up with like, I've got an idea, John. We'll add a bit of this, or we'll do a bit of that. So it's only just got finished, even though we recorded it in February, in March. It's literally just got finished. So it's now going to get mixed properly. But the first little single, I think we're going to go very quick with that, just because it's going to be such a great summer. And we've got the Oasis shows. We've got, what more do you want? Like, it doesn't get any bigger than the Oasis shows. That's like 7 nights at Wembley. You know what I mean?
Cast are used to playing the big stages, but how do you prepare for a stadium show?
You don't. I mean, look, we played the O2 Arena, and we played big shows, and we played festivals in Glastonbury. We've done big gigs. I think what you do with something like this is, I don't know, but I know that I'm going to be very, very present, very in the moment. I'm not going to want it to end, I'm going to slow my perception down, and so that it lasts longer. It may be going fast as hell out front, but how do you prepare for something like that? I mean, there's only so much preparation. We don't prepare for anything, I mean, we've got the songs, we've got the band, we're playing at the, as I said, really, we just got to go and do our thing on there. It's a rock and roll, northern soul rock and roll show, I mean, we're gonna be opening we're gonna light the fuse, and Oasis are probably gonna blow the bloody place up.
So let's talk about 30 years of all change. All change balances introspection with soaring optimism, embodying the Britpop era blend of nostalgia, melody, and personal philosophy.
Well said.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me.
No, that's great. I mean, look, it's what that album is. And I've said it before, it just, debut records, they're always special if you're a special band, because your debuts always have something to say. And that album was recorded at the right time. We'd been gigging it. I was saying to someone earlier, when we went in the studio with John Leckie, I mean, that record was red. We didn't write a chorus, a guitar lick, a backing vocal, a middle eight. We didn't change the arrangements. Everything was ready to go. We'd been playing that album, and we were absolutely tight as a band. Every song, the album's bulletproof from start to finish. So John Leckie, who's an amazing guy, he just had to record us and, I suppose, coax us to get the right performance. But we were really tight at that time. And as I said, the songs were all arranged and everything was right, so it just really, really captured a moment. It's got the energy. Yeah, it's got the philosophy of a young band who are immortal. It's still got touches of wistfulness, but it's also got real optimism and real sort of energy. And we're making sense of things ourselves, remember, It's not like we have all this experience. At that time, I suppose I was experienced to a degree. I was a young lad. I'd been in the Lars, for God's sake. But that's still, it's not like I'm talking to you now and I kind of know what I know about music and how things were. I didn't, we just went in all guns blazing, like, really.
When I first heard Finetime, it felt like the start of something, not just for Cast, but the whole of the mid-90s wave. It felt like a statement of intent from your end.
It did. Well, it was a statement of intent. I mean, there was no getting around it. We weren't messing about. I mean, when I say we had self-belief and confidence, I mean it. I mean, I knew how good the band were. I knew how good the songs were. And I knew the time. It's funny because, when things start happening, when time starts reflecting the present, something's happening. And we were part of that, It's like now I'm like slightly analyzing it and looking back at it. But it was all so in real time. I mean, one thing about those songs is that when I still play them, they feel present and fresh. I never sing them thinking, oh, this is that old song. It doesn't feel like I've been singing them for 3 months, never mind 30 years. Just feels like one of my new songs when I burst into them. And I think that's something special, because it's probably, all change, it's a hell of an album once you let it go. And when we start playing that live in November and October, it's going to feel, you can spot a young man's album. You can feel the energy. Yeah, you couldn't write that now, and I wouldn't try. I can write Love Is the Call and yeah, what we're going to do. I mean, they're special records. All change is a moment captured, It's 30 years old. It's on that cycle, that classic cycle, like the way, as I said, the way the 60s was to me, the 90s is to the kids today. All Change is one of them records, we were there, and we captured we caught a flame.
Yeah, I mean, listening to it now, it feels like a greatest hits. It felt like you were really, you caught lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, there's so many songs. I remember Ian Brody stopped me in the street before the album came out and said, "You've got to release Four Walls. Four Walls has got to be the single, John." And I was like, no, but what I mean is there's so many songs that could have been a single, that weren't singles, but are classic tracks on there, history. I'm not going to hang up the track listing right in front of me, but like, Tell It Like It Is, Promised Land, Mankind, they all could have been reflections. They all could have been singles for but it just so happens that you've got so many great songs. I mean, the whole album, as I said, it's just one immense like flame after another. It's look, I knew it was a great record because I knew the band were great and I knew them songs were great. But here I am talking to you. It just feels like yesterday I wrote it. It doesn't feel a long time ago, I don't think the same about like Magic Hour, the album, or things like that, I haven't got the same bond with that. There might be some good songs on that, but it's not a magical album. All Change is a magical record. Mother Nature's I'm very, very fond of as well. Love Is the Call I'm very, very fond of, and this new one, yeah, it's going to blow your bloody mind. Like so, there's certain things I just feel like you just kind of capture. But All Change is the debut, for God's sake. It's the first of everything. It was the first of all the things that Cast achieved. It was the first of the dream. It was the first of you hearing us. It was all of them things, that makes a debut right.
Yeah, you mentioned John Leckie. John Leckie, you worked with before. Was John Leckie always your first choice to produce the album, or were there other names being considered at the time?
He was, actually. I mean, I just remember John being a really cool dude when I met him in the Lars. I mean, and we met a lot of producers in the Lars. A lot of the sessions were aborted or didn't finish or whatever. I just remember John being really cool. You know what I mean? It didn't happen with the Lars, but it didn't happen with anyone with the Lars. So it was just John. I think John has been quoted as saying, as like, the minute he heard that I had a new band and that we were signed and he knew he wanted to work with us. You know what I mean? So that's how it kind of came about. John Leckie wants to work with us and we wanted to work with him. We had the album, we had the songs, we had the performances. We needed the Capitan behind the ship's wheel to just get us through the stormy waters when needed and to keep it, keep us on course, and that's what he did amazingly. You look, I mean, he's done a lot. He's done some great debut records, where he just facilitates and captures the band, Stone Roses for one. I think Radiohead even.
He did Radiohead's second album. He did the Verve's first album.
And the Verve's as well. There you go, So, and Stone Roses, obviously.
You wrote some of All Change while still in the Laz. Was there a point where you knew these songs need a new home and Cast has to happen?
Yeah, there was. Whilst I was in the Laz, it never crossed my mind about leaving. I never thought. It just didn't cross my mind. I was fully committed to the Laz, and we were doing a couple of songs. I was writing the songs. I had half songs. Four Walls, versus Finetime, versus Sandstorm. All Right was written. I was tinkling away on a lot of things, and it just happened like an epiphany. Really, it was like everything was heavy. We got to a point where everything was really heavy and like it just wasn't that buoyant, bright initial feeling of what the Lars were. And I can remember standing on stage, and having this moment where the changes Cast was just circling around the auditorium. And I just was like, if I don't write these songs, if I don't sing them, then no one's going to hear them. They're not even going to get finished. And I think that is when I realized, that's that I was going to have to leave the Lars, which was quite heartbreaking at the time for me. But it became I just thought, right, I think we'd come back from the American tour and, I'd been playing the same set for like 6.5 years or something like that. And it was just like, I can't carry it. I mean, I'm not going to do that again. I need to I need to put some new songs. I need some new songs, But it was very, like at that time, Lee didn't want to be standing on stage anyway. He didn't, and there was, as I said, there was heavy vibes going on, and I think it was like Friday the 13th. I just picked up my guitar and walked out to the rehearsal rooms. It was a big thing to do because all of a sudden I had to kind of start singing. I had to start finishing them songs. I was just in the pocket as a bass player. I was just feeling so good on the bass, But as I said to you earlier, I realized that those songs deserve to be finished. They deserve to be sung. They deserve to be given the opportunity to blossom, and nobody else. And rightly so, you're right. The writer of the songs has to be the one who gives his all to them. I couldn't expect anyone else, and I don't expect anyone else to have provided that for me. There's no hard feelings. I don't think, what could have happened with me and Lee together, the best of my songs and pretty much anything Lee touched was stunning. Would have been formidable. But you know what? It's okay. My songs are what they are. The Lars are iconic, and it's a time that exists. And I don't really believe in yesterday that much. It's all here and it's all there within me. The past, the present, where I'm going doesn't really matter, does it? It's what I'm doing, I guess. I'm singing and all that. I've got no regrets and no bad feelings towards anyone. Lee is he was an amazing inspiration and an amazing musician. He's a great guy. He's funny as hell. Yeah, he's a funny guy when he's funny, and he's heavy when he's heavy, but he's the most gifted songwriter and musician I've ever come across, and I've met some talented people in my day,
Yeah, becoming the front man after the Laz,
Yeah.
It was a big leap. Did you feel ready, or was it more of a learn as you go situation?
I feel ready. I feel ready now, but I never felt ready then. I mean, this is the thing with me. I've always put myself in the line. I've stood up and been counted. I mean, of course I wasn't ready. I mean, I just left the most iconic band of a time, but I knew I had to do it. It's as simple as that. I mean, everybody probably thought it was the wrong thing to do, but I knew it wasn't. I knew it was the right thing to do for me because I had them songs. And like I was telling you, those songs needed to be finished, and then they certainly needed to be sung. Was I ready for it? No, I wasn't ready. It was, there was a big transitional period. I had to learn to sing and play the guitar better as a rhythm guitar and become a frontman. To be honest with you, I'm only just now. I feel great on stage now. I feel relaxed and everything. I don't think I did even in the heyday of Cast. I mean, I could hide behind the song a bit, but I wasn't as comfortable as I am now. I can talk. I feel a lot more at ease with who I am. I think I've kind of, the separate parts of me have all become one. So I'm ready now, but I wasn't ready then. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to kind of get in there and see what, I mean, is there anything worth having that is known for sure? You take a chance on love. You take a chance on the dream. You take a chance on all the things that matter, because there's no certainties in this world for anything. So I wasn't, I was as certain as I could be. I was as certain as a dreamer could be, because what's real? I don't know.
Yeah, you were part of two bands that defined their moments, the Laz and Cast, and it feels like you carried a certain spirit through both.
Well, of course. I mean, I was very, very. I mean, the Lars was massive to me, and Cast was massive to me. It's my life and my journey, and it's all I know. It doesn't feel strange or odd to have been in both of those bands and still be in one of them. And as I said, the Lars is always with me. It's always there. Like, how could it not be? Cast is a phenomenal band at the moment. and we've just recorded a phenomenal record, and we're having a phenomenal year, phenomenal. So, I mean, there's no looking back, but as I said, I find time a very strange thing to deal with. So I don't really deal with it. I just let it be. It's all one thing, really. One day I'll be gone. And that's the way it goes. Like,
All Chains hit number 7, went double platinum, and became Polydor's fastest selling debut album ever. Outselling Hendrix, The Who, The Jam. What went through your head when you first heard that?
Should have gone number 6. Yeah. Listen, I think, look, it's great, It was a multi-platinum selling album. But, I won't lie to you when I say that. I was expecting that. Excuse me. I was expecting that because I really thought I knew that the album was great. Not like, sonically, technically. I just knew the songs were great. And I knew the band were great. You know what I mean? It's like, and I had that wonderful immortality, naivety, and confidence where no one was going to tell me that it wasn't. It's as simple as that. Reality was not going to get in the way. There was no, we were forming and bending time and reality to our perception. I knew how good it was. I'm shocked it wasn't even bigger. How's that? But it's not over yet. It's not over yet. We've got some unfinished business to fucking deal with,
You've spoken about walking around Liverpool with song ideas in your head. Do you think that city itself shaped the Cast sound?
Most definitely, yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I don't think Cast would have been, could have been the band they are or were if they weren't from Liverpool. There's no way I would be the same. I mean, look, we're universal souls. I get it. But Liverpool, and I've spoken about this. When I was a little boy and I first heard the Beatles on the radio, and Bill Shankly was the manager of Liverpool, and I asked my dad, and I can remember it well, who's the greatest band in the world? And he was like, it's the Beatles, son. And I was like, where are you from? Liverpool. Who's the greatest football team, Dad? He was like, it's Bill Shankly, Liverpool, son. I was over there, Liverpool. And he was going, and the Beatles are from round. It just made so much sense to me when I was like, wow, well then that's how it is round here. This is so, I don't think I'd have believed, John Lennon went to my school, for Christ's sake. I went to Anfield with my dad every week or whenever we could. These two great massive things, they weren't from, as I've said, I was saying to other people, they weren't from some mad place far, far away. They were from where I lived. Not just that, the very roads I grew up in and the schools I went to. So, it just felt Liverpool had to be the place. I mean, listen, you've got Oasis from Manchester. There's loads of great bands from loads of great places. But for me to exist, talking to you right now, then I had to be from Liverpool. And Liverpool had to be the place that the bands that I came from, that were in the Lars and Cast, were formed. Because the Beatles and the port of Liverpool, the sea estuary, and where everything comes through is where it's got something to do with my psyche, like, my DNA.
Yeah, I was speaking to Peter Hooton recently from the farm, and he was saying, when you speak to people from Liverpool, artists like yourself, they always mention the docks and people coming through the docks. Every single time. And I spoke to Michael Head, I spoke to Ian McCulloch, yourself, and Peter Hooton, and they always mentioned everything just came through the docks.
Well, it did. Rock and roll came through the docks.
Yeah.
I mean, things came through. I mean, Liverpool was the gateway in or out. I mean, if you were leaving, you were going, if things were coming in. So that's the way it is. That's the way it was. Before it got into anywhere else in this country, it probably came through Liverpool first. Okay, there's some other ports, but Liverpool, with its musical heritage, and its cultural heritage, it all came. Everything. I mean, there's a song on the album, Don't Look Away, and it's like, everything you do, everything you say, it all came out of me and it all came out of you. and Liverpool is that being, maybe, that's the way. I don't sit there thinking these things up, but you've asked me, so I'm kind of having a little sort of mental wandering sort of think about it all. And that's what I think, that's, for me personally, it did all come through that. What came through me came through that, it came through it. And Liverpool, it is that place for me, It's of me. Liverpool is that place of me.
Well, it leads us on to Promised Land. It was ahead of its time. You were writing about the environment before it was part of the mainstream conversation. Do you think people weren't hearing what you were saying then?
I think a lot of the journalists and press didn't want to hear it, to be honest. I mean, we were pigeonholed very quickly by a lot, not all, but by a lot. They already had some, northern working class superstars, remember, they didn't want any more knocking around. But Promised Land was that, it was totally about that. I never have a theme when I write a song, but that song, it dictated what it wants to be about, But then again, Forever Changes. There's a lot of stuff like that, with the Love album. There's lots of you can find pockets of these little expressions manifesting in songs. You know what I mean? Throughout, because you're only saying what the native or the indigenous Indians or people said. You know what I mean? It's pretty obvious, isn't it? I mean, when I go outside and take my shoes off, stand on the air, sit in the boughs of a tree, and hey, feel the energy. Well, then that's not mine. That's true. That's the real thing. The tide cometh and the tide goeth. The roots of the earth reach to the sun. Once you start touching into that, I mean, I was just a kid. I wasn't like kind of talking as spiritually as I am now about it. But yeah, that song is about that. It's self-explanatory if you listen to the lyrics. And no, I think it was probably slightly ridiculed at the time, because I can remember someone writing in the NME or the Melody Maker, sort of like, oh, look, and he's writing an environmentally so-and-so song, and you just kind of went, oh, well, fuck it, I won't say nothing then, But, the press was a lot more like spiteful and a lot more ridiculing than they probably are today. I mean, you could be really quite vicious them days and be cool, and it would be seen cool, I mean, it just wouldn't happen now. But yeah, I can remember someone taking the piss, the fact that I was writing a song about that, but hey, who gives a shit, eh?
And then, even Mankind, you were saying something, you're talking about something bigger there as well, even in that song.
Well, listen, there's a whole theme, the whole album. I'm not talking about something very transition, about the change or something. I mean, look, we were spiritual, urban hippie kind of, psychedelic scallies, I guess, I mean, that's the way we were. And I'm still talking about the same things, really. I probably just got a different way of saying it. Then I was idealistic. I really thought that our generation was going to change the world. Famine, hunger, homelessness, racism, war, big issues, easily fucking solved, And you get so hard at it. When you're a young kid, you think, it's fucking easy. You feed the starving, you stop fucking, war can be, you know what I mean? You just promote all these things. And you ask a kid how to do that. Very simple answers to those questions. You get a bit older like now and you realize that, oh, hang on. Well, you know what I mean? I think that, economic downturn and war, it's very much promoted. It's part of the economy. You're not going to get rid of it, unfortunately. You're just lucky if there's no bullets flying over your head. And if there isn't, then you may as well just be the best person you can and express the love for yourself and the people who you care about. And that will manifest by other people seeing what a good human being you are. But I can't change the world anymore, but I can change mine. But at that time, I was thinking that we were going to change the world. I thought we'd fucking learn from our mistakes. One thing you learn is that we certainly don't, Same old fucking puppets and psychopaths running the world, unfortunately.
Yeah. And as Simon Fowler said, there's no profit in peace.
Well, there isn't no profits. As I said, war is the biggest business. Every missile costs over £1 million. And, I mean, and the foolish thing is they say, don't go on holiday because it's bad for the environment when you fly to wherever, or don't rinse your plates before you put them in the dishwasher because it's bad for the environment. I'll tell you what's bad for the environment. Dropping fucking bombs all over children, fucking blowing up places and toxic shit and plumes and all that crap. War and all that crap. They've dropped enough bombs in Gaza and fucking Ukraine and all that for how, I mean, so don't blame Mrs. Jones who lives down the bleeding road who wants to go on holiday once a year, and make her feel guilty that she's trying to jump on a flight to bloody Greece. Absolutely. I mean, do you know what I mean? What I'm saying is you want to stop polluting the world, stop blowing it up, for Christ's sake, with toxic fucking bombs.
100%. Going back to the album, apart from apart from the singles, is there an album track you're especially proud of? Maybe one that you think's been overlooked?
Well, on All Change, it's very difficult because I don't think any of the songs have been overlooked. History is an amazing song. It's an amazing song on the acoustic. When I wrote it on its own, I thought this was fucking great. I mean, when Skin added his psychedelic, well then it became great. Tell It Like It Is. Tell It Like It is one of my one of my favorite songs. If you give me a guitar and I'm sitting down, I will play that to you acoustically because it's like a hymn. It works. The melody is beautiful. The picking is beautiful. What it says within the lyrics is everything is wonderful in that. So, for war, I mean, there's so many songs that it's like Two of a Kind. I love Two of a Kind. It was my, I mean, that's overlooked because we don't fucking play it enough.
Yeah, 100%.
We should play it more. And every time we do, it goes down ape shit. So we will be playing it in November, December, October, whenever the tour is. So we'll be playing all of them and then coming back on and playing a whole. I'd like to drop a couple of Real Muse songs in. And we've got songs from Love Is the Call that people are loving. And Love Is the Call has regenerated so much things. But All Change is, is I can't think of a song that's overlooked on. And Reflections I love as well. They're all great. I love more than others. I mean, I probably, Sandstorm, Finetime, All Right, Walkaway, History, Tell It Like It Is, Four Walls, Two of a Kind. What have I missed? Promised Land, Mankind, Reflections, and what's the other one there? Back of my mind. So there's the whole track listing off the top of my head.
How did you feel whenever you presented History to Skin and you heard his guitar parts for the first time? Because it's probably from that era, it's probably one of the best guitar parts.
Well, the thing is, I think Skin had been, Skin's like, he's quite, he's that little dinka-dinka-din. If you hear that on the acoustic guitar, it'll probably sound like some sort of folk, slightly, it doesn't sound, but what happens, we had this pedal called Milos, which we had in our rehearsal room before Skin joined. Skin had a couple of little things. The Skin's into his delays and all that. So he kind of had his delay with this Milos, which is like a kind of wah. It's kind of like cuts the sound into a wah. It's like a wah copter at a certain time. And he was messing around with that. And we started playing History. And it wasn't even like, oh, he just started doing it. He just came in halfway through the song with it. And it was just like, don't fucking move. That's brilliant. Just fucking keep it rolling. And he was we were doing out there, bum, 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 bum. And he just came in, because actually he's probably only going, he's only doing like this little thing over it. And then with the delay and the sound, it starts going fucking spinning and all that. And it's an amazing piece. And it just came together. It wasn't hard work. he didn't have to go away. He didn't work on nothing. I didn't have any idea about it. It just went fuck off and happened. It's amazing.
We must talk about some of the B-sides from that era, because you had Follow Me Down, Better Man, Satellites. They were all brilliant as well. Did any of them nearly make it onto the album?
That should have been on the album.
It should have started. It should have started the album, I think.
I think maybe because it was an old Lars song. I don't know whether I slightly thought, oh, in hindsight, because I mean, we used to. It's a brilliant song. I think I got ahead of myself and just thought, oh fuck it, we can't put them all on. But Follow Me Down should have been on the record. Now that you've asked me, we will be. I think it's a good call to play some of the B-sides. Hourglass, Better Man, Follow Me Down. I think we should play them on the tour. Better Man is a really great song. I'm very, very got a soft spot for it. We recorded it on the last day of the album sessions. So it wasn't a lot of B-sides were recorded. Like, oh, you're releasing a song, John, you need to go in the studio. I mean, there was always good fun because we'd go in the studio on like Saturday morning, and by Sunday night we'd have 2 or 3 new songs, which would just go on the B-side. But Better Man was actually recorded on the sessions with Follow Me Down, in the Manor with John Leckie and all that. So, and it's got my old dog barking at the end of it as well. It's the last thing recorded in the studio was my dog Ted. Just goes whoa, whoa, at the end. But that song is cracker. A lot of the B-sides, I really enjoyed. That period, Hourglass, Follow Me Down, Better Man. There's others. There's a lot more, but I can't pick them all.
After the success of All Changed, then you had the standalone single Flying, which hit number 4, and that really connected with people as well.
Yeah, well, Flying was our highest placed single. It wouldn't not maybe. I mean, Walkaway is probably our biggest single because that went in the charts, then out, went back in, and all that. But Flying, that's another mistake I made in hindsight. It should have went on the next record, on the next album. I don't know what I was playing at. I just thought it obviously should have went on the next record because it was a hit. It would have, it made the album bigger than what it was. But Flying was a song that I had. I think I had the basics of it, like the verse and that, and it didn't make it on. I think I might have even been messing around with it on the end of All Changed, but it wasn't right. Strangely enough, there was another song we did, All My Days, which is one of my favorite, and we did a version of that when All Changed was the
outtakes on there.
Is that off the album now? Is it like with a strange one? Is it with all the band?
No, I think it's just you acoustically. It's an outtake. I can't remember.
You know what? There's an electric version with Skingo. It's not right. It's like it's too big and too bombastic. But so we've been messing with a few songs that didn't quite make it, and Flying was one of them, I think. And we were away touring All Change. I think I was in America, Chicago. It felt like that. I was definitely in America. And I remember I got you got to fly high, you got to fly high. And the thing about that, which I initially thought was, I was in the bedroom on my own, was, the melody, you got to fly high, it just stays the same while the chords are changing beneath it. And I thought, this is great. And then I went, it's just like it. Because at first it's just like flying to the air. And you want to fly, and he's just getting and that was all it was. But the "You've Got to Fly" just made it massive, and I thought, "Oh, we're on to us. I've got it now." So that I came back from that tour and we recorded it, and then we thought we'll get this out before the album was recorded. That's why it's not on anything really,
The All Changed 30 tour kicks off in Dublin and ends with a big homecoming in Liverpool. What does that final Olympia show mean to you?
Well, it's always, it's become kind of traditional now for Cast to end their year in Liverpool. Dublin and Liverpool bookends the tour. So that's kind of, without realising it, that's kind of quite a nice thing, I think, for the connection between the two cities anyway. It's always beautiful to play Liverpool, I mean, I used to get really quite nervous about it. Not so long, maybe a decade ago, I just got really kind of like, but now I don't. I just feel really cool going on stage. I know they're all behind us. I don't feel I've got to convince them anymore how good we are. and I don't have to convince them that I'm from, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I think sometimes Cass had a bit of time off, we split up, we lost our way and all that sort of thing. And so when we kind of got back together, you know, I felt like I'd lost my connection with the band, never mind the band's audience. But now I don't. Now I feel really, you know, walk on stage in Liverpool is the highlight of it all. Like,
For fans who've been there from the beginning, what do you hope they take from this moment and from where Cast are now?
Listen, everyone's buzzing. Everyone's having a good time. There's a lot of real positive energy, which is something that Cast we're always about. We're always optimistic band. We're always about, you know, we can, you know, if life's a little bit something, then we can, you know, there is we can do things better. We can change it a bit. And Cass were always like that. And I think the audience I mean, there's a whole load of people, younger kids coming, but the old guard who've been there from the beginning, they'll be buzzing their heads off because you know, they were there when All Change come out. They supported us then, and now they know the band are back. Renaissance with energy, and they know that I'm actually not messing around. I'm not just, you know, the band aren't just back and we're doing a tour. The band are back and we're fucking writing new songs and new material, and we're performing better than we have, and we mean as much to them, if not more. I think that'll mean more to them because it's like, you know, anyone will tell you that it's a tough industry you don't get a second shot at the title ever. It's very rare, you know. So for the Cast to have made such an impression on people, and then to have self-imploded and to have spent a time in the wastelands, and you know, and then slowly clung on to the life of the band. You know, it was only so many years ago we were like scraping to get a gig somewhere. All of a sudden, we've hit this vein of energy. We've released one album and another one's coming out. I mean, Love Is the Call. When was it released? Last year. Yeah. And that means it was so we're going to have a new material out this year. We're going to have the new album out next year. We're flying high. We're back to the States. We're opening on the Oasis tour. We've got our own tour. It's 30 fucking years since All Change. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's just a moment, lad. It's just yesterday. It's just right now. So, yeah. I mean, I think those of you who have been with us all the way, this feels, you know, it feels slightly sweeter because I think at the time we were all young and we were all just crazy young kids, not knowing what the hell we were doing or where our life was going to go. When now we've all lived and loved and lost, and we're still here and we're still sharing these emotions and singing these songs together. And that's a big that's a big thing to be a part of. And I've never really put it into words like that. So I feel very, very comfortable in the place I am in the present. And I feel that me saying that to anyone who was there and being all along the way with us, they're going to get that as well. They're going to feel it. And to the youngsters who are coming on board or people who've only just discovered the band, well, welcome. You know, it's not a bad place to be at the moment. It's a great place, you know. And we're going to try and lift the lid on everything. Every time we play, we're going to raise the roof, you know.
We'll leave it at that, John.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to leave it.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think I mean, you know, that's an honest kind of, that's how I feel about it all now. Yeah. All right, Mark.
Brilliant, John.
All right, mate.
Always great to speak to you. Yeah. Obviously, you'll have to come back when the new album comes out.
Yeah. Okay, I will do. All right, Mark.
Take it easy.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Ta-ra, fella.
Bye.